So thank you for joining me on this roundtable conversation, Roland and Yassin. I wanted to kick this off by you introducing ourselves to our audience. Roland, could you please go first? Introduce yourself to our audience, your name and your role.
Thank you, Ari. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Roland Daccache. I'm the senior manager for the systems engineering in CrowdStrike, based in Dubai, looking after Middle East and Africa. And I'm joined here by Yassin. Let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Ari. Hi, everyone. My name is Yassin Watlal. I'm the System Engineering Director for CrowdStrike based here in Dubai as well and covering the Meta region.
Right. There's quite a lot we have to talk about on this roundtable, but I wanted to kick this off with you, Roland. Let's talk about the Middle East, which has experienced a rapid technological transformation with cloud adoption playing a pivotal role across the industries. Talk to us. Can you share with us some insights into the current state of cloud and endpoint security in the region? What does that look like from what you are saying?
Thank you, Ari. So indeed, the cloud adoption is accelerating in the Middle East, specifically in the GCC. And that's true across sectors, whether it's healthcare or education or government or services or petrochemicals. And with that comes cost savings, cost efficiencies. At the same time, a new surface area for advanced cyber attacks. So a balancing act between security and efficiency is defining the future of cloud adoption in the GCC.
Yassin, we're talking about a report today, and
Yes.
Could you walk us through the research objectives behind this report? What did it set to achieve?
Yeah. So within this report, we wanted to uncover some of the key challenges on cloud adoption, and what were the main objectives really on adopting cloud. So to talk about what's within this report a little bit. So what we found is the main objective was to assess the extent of cloud adoption and key challenges around cloud adoption. Also to understand some of the misconceptions about the cloud security that could hinder adoption. The third one would be to highlight some of the challenges in securing cloud environment and the endpoint or the workloads. And on the fourth one, to provide actionable insight into securing the environment within the cloud. So one of the striking insights was the misconception around cloud security. That, of course, remain a major barrier, prevent organization to fully adopt, cloud and its benefit.
Let's stay with you, Yassin. Let's talk about these misconceptions. And we know that to many organizations, this is definitely a very big challenge because, again, people don't get things right. There's always those misconceptions. And I want you to talk to us a bit about the findings. Can you share some of those key takeaways from the reports that you saw?
Absolutely. So we're going to break it out into top five findings within the report. And I'm going to give you a couple of stats as well that were highlighted on the report. On the first one, it's regarding to access controls that came at 29% of the concerns. We have actually at 25% the concerns. So cloud compliance and regulation at 20%, and ensuring data protection at 20% are the top security challenges. Then in terms of, as the second one, on the emerging threats, zero-day vulnerability come at 29%, and AI-driven threat as well. We talk a lot about AI-driven, and we do see adoption from cyber criminals, leveraging AI, and that is at 27%. On the third one, what we see is compliance and governance. That comes at 30% of organizations that prioritize compliance. Talent shortage as well, right? So that comes back quite often. There is a lack of a skilled professional cybersecurity space, and that is also one of the concerns that was highlighted on the report. As planned investment, 83% of organizations, they plan to invest in cloud security solution within the next 12 months, with a strong interest in AI-driven technologies, automation, and predictive analytics.
So now giving some of these insights, they're very interesting actually to me because especially the ones that focus on zero trust strategies. And so Roland, I wanted you to talk, you are in the field, you see what's happening right there. And I wanted you to talk to us about some of these top cybersecurity challenges, which you see that organizations specifically in the Middle East face. And not just these challenges, but of course, how they can overcome these challenges? What would be your answer to that?
Yeah, great question. And if I am to sum up the whole bucket of challenges that is faced by CISOs and decision makers in the cyberspace, I would put them under three main pillars.
Okay.
Number one is data privacy, data residency. The regulations are moving fast in the GCC. We've seen that across the region, Saudi, UAE, Qatar, and in other places. So data privacy and how data is processed is a top priority. That's why we've seen a lot of hyperscalers actually move in with their regions and data centers to the region. Azure, AWS, Google, Oracle, etc. Another challenge is the type of threat that we see in the cloud, which is very different than the traditional threat that we've seen targeting network or endpoint or on-premises appliances or endpoints. So the bottom line here is CISOs have to adapt to overcome these challenges. And I think the biggest one, I left it to the end, it's actually budget constraints. It's sometimes very difficult to budget for the cloud, to budget for SaaS, to budget for security spending as well. We're not very used in the Middle East to the consumption model that a lot of these cloud providers do offer or provide. So being adaptive, being flexible, CISOs have to work really hard with CFOs on how we're going to spend our money when we adopt cloud. I think that's like the final point that I want to end my answer with.
Three things I hear you say, and I'm trying to summarize that. The first one is data privacy concerns. The second is a complex cloud threats. And the third one, which you talked about, is budgetary constraints. And I wanted us to stay on budgetary constraints because I know that that's such a big one. So Yassin, I wanted to ask you, we know that budgetary constraints is certainly a very big and uphill battle for most organizations, whether you're a small size business or whether you're a big size business. And so Yassin, talk to us about how organizations can effectively manage these complexities of multi-cloud environments.
Yeah, you're completely right. In terms of budget constraint, they're everywhere. I mean, there's businesses that needs to be run. One of the reason why you would adopt cloud solution is for particular use cases within your environment, and you would want a leverage a solution within the cloud, right? So what we see is different cloud environments and different providers of those cloud, and they could be geared towards different use cases, right? But depending on the size of the businesses, you could potentially have 2 or 3 or 4 cloud providers, and that becomes obviously different attack vectors, and you want to ensure that you unify your policies, you unify your security view across all cloud environments, and even possibly as well with your on-prem environment. So you want to ensure that you have a tool that provides you with that a single pane of glass to look at everything, and that you completely have a unified security policies is across all the environment, right? So to ensure that you have a unified security policies, one. Second one would be to leverage cloud native tools. Okay, real cloud native tools. So ensuring that what is being provides you with that visibility in terms of security and hardening also your environment within the cloud, and they are there, so you can leverage that, and continuous monitorings as well. That's very important to ensure that you do your check, and you remediate to critical alerts to maintain your environment stable.
So to organizations facing this problem, that's a roadmap for you. Number one, have a unified security policy. Number two, cloud native tools. And number three, continuous monitoring so that you have access to, you can see what's happening. Let's come to you, Roland. I wanted us to talk about emerging threats. How access control, zero-day vulnerabilities, and AI-driven attacks, how do you see these three impacting organizations, specifically in the Middle East where you are based?
Yeah, thank you for the question. 3 areas of focus. Access control, if we start by that, identity, the digital identity, the cloud identity is under big threat. And we've seen a lot of movements from threat actors targeting specifically stealing identities. With the cloud, the attack surface has expanded for threat actors to perform advanced phishing attacks, advanced AI-powered attacks. This brings me to the point of how AI has put the cyber attacks on steroids by crafting a lot of fake content, fake media, fake emails, videos, texts, audio, all across the board. It just became much easier to produce luring fake content. And we've seen also AI being used to develop code for exploits. So the window between discovering a critical vulnerability and actually having an exploit in the wild has shrunk from weeks to now hours. So the zero-day vulnerabilities in the cloud, the risk is, first of all, cloud assets are in general exposed to the internet unless we have very strict access control policies. And second, the window to have an exploit ready to be run in the wild is shrinking. So CISOs, security leaders, SOCs have to react much faster to respond to this type of emerging threats.
Yassin, Roland just started talking about some of how these AI tools and the rest are being used for the negative. And we know that proactivity is clearly a very big key. So something could be used for the negative as well as for the positive. But we want to jump right ahead, make sure that before the bad guys use it, we are using it in our systems. So let's talk about CrowdStrike. Talk to me about how AI-powered solutions such as those offered by CrowdStrike, how they help organizations to improve their cybersecurity. It's your space. Just go.
To strengthen cybersecurity, of course. So as it was mentioned earlier, cyber threat actors, they are practitioners. So they will try and get their hands on any AI tool to make their tools more efficient, right? On our side, obviously, to leverage AI to secure and our environment and to straighten our environment is possible, more than possible. It's actually applicable and it's working as well. So it's one thing which is very important on the side, right, of defending an environment is you have to deal with a lot of data on a constant daily, hourly basis. You have to deal with a lot of data. And really, AI can help you with this, right? So to shorten your responses to threat, to shorten your remediations to threat, to really empower the user to be able to get the context quickly of what's going on and to be able to apply a remediation, to be the more predictive as possible of what's going on as well. So to collect those weak signals. There's a few things here that actually look like an anomaly. Right? So we want to understand this very quickly and empower with AI the ability for users to make quick decisions. We have tools that are working on within our platform. They can empower the users to make quick decisions, faster remediation to secure and maintain a good security posture.
If we look at the future, Roland, if I think about what's happening right now with AI and think about what could happen in the next 10, 15 years, the opportunities seem endless. So talk to me about the future. How can organizations in the Middle East maintain a cybersecurity advantage in the digital era?
That's top of mind on CISOs. We can go down a route of having philosophical answers and predictions about the future. But if I want to give you what should you do next in the short term? First of all, you have to admit that what protected you for the last 20 years may not be good enough for the coming 5 to 10 years. So modernize the security stack, invest in AI-powered advanced technologies. Don't be afraid of adopting cloud-native solutions and platforms and consolidate. We've talked about cost. We also need to talk about performance and about efficiency. And if you still use 50 tools in your SOC, the threat actor is going to find his way in very easily across the gaps and the blind spots. And final point is foster a security-aware culture. Because regardless of how much investment you make in fancy technologies, all it takes is one user to get compromised and your organization may get exposed. We've seen that in a lot of the recent breaches where the entry point was just compromising an internal asset or internal employee via social engineering or phishing. All it takes is one wrong move. So make sure that you have a cyber culture inside your organization. That's the advice that I'd like to leave you with today.
Looking into the future. We're rounding off this conversation. It's been very short, brief, but also very impactful. Yassin, any final thoughts before we round this off?
Yeah, well, I would say that in terms of cloud adoption, the benefits are there. The security is also there. It's ready to help and empower customers to actually really fully leverage cloud environments, and doing this and being completely reassured that the environment will be secured. The AI, of course, that there is things that we see in the wild and being leveraged by threat actors. But we do have also a solution on our side to see that can empower users and empower environments, as well, empower businesses to fully secure environment and keep up to date with threats. So yeah, that's what I want you to finish with today.
Roland, any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final advice is talk to the experts. Talk to us. Don't try to do it alone. We know that the changes are happening at an extremely fast pace in the world today. And we've seen the AI world move like at lightning speed. Talk to the experts, get some advice on how to modernize your security strategy for the next 5 years.
And to those watching this, the Digital Frontier report highlights the evolving cybersecurity landscape and the steps that organizations should take to strengthen their defenses. Now, what we have talked about today, you probably just heard a lot, and I know that's already blowing off your mind, but believe me, we have only just scratched the surface. And the full survey provides a wealth of data, including detailed benchmarks, real-world examples, and actionable recommendations that are tailored specifically to the Middle East. So if you're in the Middle East, this is going to be a very good resource for you. So somewhere around this video, maybe down below, we are going to add a link, and it's going to carry you to the official CrowdStrike's website, where you can download this report. You can have it and prepare your organization for the future. And of course, we encourage you to have this asset into your hands. Once again, Roland, I wanted to thank you very much for all the input you've brought to the table. Thank you for being here on this roundtable. And Yassin, I wanted to say a very, very big thank you for all that you've shared. And I do appreciate you guys for granting me audience on this roundtable. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ari. Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.